So far, we have only looked at life within the terrestrial ecosystems of Antarctica. But for a complete perspective, it is also important to understand the species that might settle here in the near future. Let's talk about invasive species. It's supposed to represent a small shrub and also small examples of small grass pollen. The introduction of non-native species, sometimes called aliens, is considered one of the largest threats to Antarctic terrestrial biodiversity. Mosses and lichens, the main primary producers in terrestrial Antarctica, are typically slow-growing, and especially so in the cold and dry environments of Antarctica. They cannot compete well with rapidly growing vascular plants that dominate temperate regions. Accidental introduction of vascular plants, such as grasses and shrubs, from temperate regions to Antarctica may lead to native mosses and lichens being outcompeted by these rapidly growing species. This destroys the unique species combinations existing in Antarctica and replaces them with plant communities that are already widespread across Earth. The current Antarctic microclimate is particularly challenging for vascular plants due to the consistent low temperatures and infrequent water availability. These are conditions that mosses and lichens can more easily cope with. However, with the continued warming of the Earth's climate, the Antarctic climate is becoming increasingly suitable for plants from temperate regions to establish and thrive, and thereby outcompete native plant communities. Changes in the vegetation composition also affect the organisms that depend on this vegetation for food and shelter. Native springtails, mites, nematodes, tardigrades and a multitude of microorganisms rely in part on Antarctic mosses and lichens for their survival. When non-native plants have established, often native species diversity declines, as only a few can thrive under these larger invasive plants. Non-native animals, such as insects, nematodes, but also microorganisms, are capable of greatly affecting existing species interactions of Antarctic communities. Larger organisms are likely to prey on existing species, thereby reducing local populations. In addition, species with different characteristics than those existing in species-poor Antarctic communities will very likely change soil process rates. This in turn increases the speed and scale of soil nutrient cycling. This enhanced nutrient cycling can facilitate the establishment of other non-native plants, which would otherwise be limited by the current low nutrient levels of Antarctic terrestrial ecosystems. You can see that this turns into a runaway effect that transforms these ecosystems. Some examples. A non-native midge or fly has already established at some sites along the Antarctic peninsula, and the feeding activities of its larval stage is rapidly speeding up the nitrogen cycle. Such changes in the internal process rates of the soil may create novel conditions which are more suitable for other non-native species. Another example from laboratory work shows that the introduction of a non-native isopod or woodlice that are very common in Europe can prey upon native springtails and greatly reduce their local population sizes. Such woodlice have already been seen across subantarctic islands. Any accidental introduction of a non-native species can have large and unexpected consequences for the unique Antarctic terrestrial biodiversity. To ensure the continued conservation and protection of unique Antarctic ecosystems, every effort should be taken to prevent the introduction and establishment of non-native plants and animals in Antarctica.